Centuries before he was born, they wrote about him. In a time before empires rose and fell, before Rome ruled the world, before Bethlehem even mattered, there were whispers in the wind, whispers of a name, a child, a king. They called him many things: the root of Jesse, the branch, Emmanuel. But before the manger, before the cross, before the tomb, there was a promise, a prophecy. 1,000 years before shepherds heard the cry of a newborn in a stable, before wise men set their gaze upon a strange star in the sky, before angels sang over fields of sheep, there were words, words written on scrolls, sealed with hope, cracked open by suffering, passed from father to son, from rabbi to student, from exile to exile. Stories of a coming one, a redeemer, a rescuer. He would not just save Israel, he would save the world. The story of the Messiah didn't begin in the New Testament. No, it was sown into the ancient texts of the Hebrew Scriptures, carved into the hearts of prophets, echoed through centuries of waiting and wondering. Tonight, we go back to the beginning of hope, back to a people crying for a Savior, back to the prophets who saw him long before he arrived. We will walk through fire-lit temples and foreign lands, through exile and hope, through scrolls that breathe with the anticipation of heaven. The history of Israel was a story of highs and heartbreaks, slavery in Egypt, exile in Babylon, oppression under Persia, Greece and Rome. Each empire left scars. Each conqueror reminded the people of their need for deliverance, and so they looked back to the promises, to the days of Abraham, of Moses, of David, when prophets spoke of a coming one, not just a king, but the king, not merely a savior from Rome, but a redeemer from sin itself. Even in the silence, hope burned. Even in defeat, the dream of a Messiah never died. In temple courts and desert caves, in war and in worship, Israel remembered and waited.
Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, God with us. Isaiah, son of Amos, was no ordinary prophet. He saw visions of glory and judgment, of restoration and ruin. But his greatest vision? A child who would be born not merely to lead, but to save. A child born of a virgin, a miracle within a miracle.
For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulder. And his name will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace.
This wasn't just poetic prophecy. It was a roadmap, a revelation. This coming one would not merely be human, he would carry divine titles. Mighty God. Who could this be? What kind of child could hold eternity in his hands? Isaiah's words echoed for generations, to the broken-hearted, to the enslaved, to the doubting. He is coming, Isaiah said. He is coming. While Isaiah saw the identity of the Messiah, Micah pinpointed his birthplace.
But you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though you are little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of you shall come forth to me the one to be ruler in Israel, whose goings forth are from of old, from everlasting.
Bethlehem, tiny, forgotten, a town for shepherds, and yet destined to cradle eternity. David's city, a place of humble beginnings, a manger, not a throne. The prophecy is clear. The ruler would not be born in a palace, but in simplicity, and not just born. Micah says his origins are from everlasting. How can someone be born and yet already exist from eternity? Unless he is more than a man, unless he is the Ancient of Days clothed in flesh. While Isaiah described the Messiah and Micah named his birthplace, Daniel gave something even more astonishing: a timeline.
Know and understand this. From the time the word goes out to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until the Anointed One, the ruler, comes, there will be 7 sevens and 62 sevens.
A cryptic prophecy. But when decoded, it points to something breathtaking. From the decree to rebuild Jerusalem after exile, Daniel counts 483 years. Scholars have followed the numbers. The timeline leads to one person, Jesus of Nazareth, riding into Jerusalem on a donkey, just days before Passover. Daniel didn't just see the when, he saw the cost.
The Anointed One will be cut off and will have nothing. A Messiah who would die. This wasn't the conquering hero many expected. This was a suffering servant, a lamb. The Jews expected a sword, but prophecy whispered of a sacrifice.
The fingerprints of the Messiah were everywhere. Psalm 22, they pierce my hands and my feet. Zechariah, they will look on me, whom they have pierced. Genesis 3:15, he shall crush your head, and you shall strike his heel. Isaiah 53, he was wounded for our transgressions, by his stripes we are healed. Each verse a puzzle piece, each prophecy a whisper, each scroll a countdown. Over 300 prophecies from different centuries, from different men, all pointing to one man, one mission, one Messiah, and then silence. 400 years of prophetic stillness, no new visions, no new words, just expectation, until a cry broke the silence. In Bethlehem, just as Micah said, to a virgin, just as Isaiah promised, at the perfect time, just as Daniel calculated, he had come, and nothing would ever be the same. Centuries before he was born, they wrote about him, and now he walks the earth. But who is he? Why did he come? And what will it cost him? Join us in episode 2, The Birth, a King in a Manger, as we begin the next step in the journey of the Messiah. The Divine Lens, uncovering ancient truth, one story at a time. Subscribe now to follow the journey.